Today on the Nerdy Gritty, we revisit The Last Jedi, this time with some less expectations.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I'm Fox.
I'm Dez. So, I have a problem, Fox.
Well, that's an understatement. Which one are you talking about?
On my computer right now...
Is an illegal character?
It's an illegal character. No. Okay, so I tried to title this episode Last Jedi, and it just told me, that's an illegal character. You can't... And I'm like, what? Like, somebody's going to kick in the door here.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
On my computer right now, I'm halfway through a run of Slay the Spire.
You are.
And you are in the way of that.
Yep.
How dare
Deal
you,
with it.
you monster. Slay the Spire is a game that I downloaded last night. So if you guys haven't heard of Slay the Spire, it's basically just like this deck building, but also kind of strategy, RNG type game. And it's really fun with really high replayability. A typical run lasts about an hour, and it is highly enjoyable. I watched a lot of it before I started playing it, but now that I'm playing it, I realize that I'm still pretty new to it. I'm still making some silly decisions. If you guys play any collectible card games, like Magic or Pokemon or anything, I get a lot of those moments in which I do something and then immediately after it, I'm like, that was a misplay.
Yep, should have done something else.
Dang it. So I have a lot of moments like that, but I'm learning. Yep. I'm doing well.
Cool.
Anyway, Fox, how are you, man?
I'm good. I've been playing Octopath Traveler a whole lot. Which is, it's a really fun game. It's like a unique game. Like, it's like a game that I'm kind of surprised exists. It's
really?
A risky game, it feels like, in this day and age, to have your graphics basically be an SNES game with a slight, they call it 2D HD, where it's basically 2D, but it has depth. You can move.
Right.
Yeah,
it
looks like a
yarn game.
Sure, or it looks like a what am I calling it? What do you make in school where it's like a diorama, basically? Like any specific scene could just be a diorama. It looks really cool. But the combat is really fun and really simple, but there's, as any good combat system, simple but deep. Once you get into the game, takes real strategy, but it's very easy to get into. It's called Octopath Traveler, though, which is a garbage name.
Yeah, that was a working title, and it should have stayed a working title.
It's a good demo name. There's travelers, 8 travelers on a path, because there are 8 characters you can play as. I did realize, and I promise you this was on my own, I realized this, the character names: Ophelia, Cyrus, Tressa, Ulberic, Primrose, Alphen, Therian, and Honnet. Octopath. Yeah, okay. They saw Inception, and they're like, nice, because the characters in Inception, their names make dreams pay. Or maybe what's his name? Christopher Nolan is actually behind Octopath Traveler. He's moved into making games.
Why hasn't he done that?
I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
By the way, we talked about that before, and how we're like, the people who made Beyond Two Souls, and it's Quantum Dreams. I just remembered that right now.
Is it Quantum or Quantic? What am I thinking of? There's something called Quantic.
No,
it doesn't matter.
It's Quantum Dreams.
Doesn't
anyway,
matter.
Either way, Christopher Nolan should pair with them to make a video game.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Okay. Sure.
Or Christopher Nolan should pair with Hideo Kojima and make the most confusing piece of art ever.
It would be the worst.
It would be a painting, and they'd say, play this video game. And you'd be like, how? And they just stare at you.
It's just an actual painting. Like, here you go, enjoy. And then you look it up, you feel like, you look it up online, people are getting like 80 hours of gameplay out of it.
Exactly.
Like, what? We're really excited for New Game Plus Plus. It's a painting.
I'm really excited for New Game Minus. What?
What is that? New Game Minus. I bet that's a thing that's just not called that. Like, it's like
you're restarting, but you're
lesser
than before.
Yeah, like
it's basically starting Dark Souls over again, but you're the deprived this time.
You cannot equip weapons. Anyway, that was fun. We are talking about today a movie.
Is that your
That's my
transition?
That's my transition because I want to get into it.
You don't want to hear what I
No, I don't care about. Well, you talked about Slay the Spire.
I talked about that was
Fine.
our intro.
Let's make it all about you.
Good.
Okay.
I started season 2 of Luke Cage.
Nice.
And I'm a few episodes into it.
I have not watched it at all.
And it's good. It is definitely continuing to hammer in this whole idea of the culture of like just what they really do is they say like, hey, there's African American, but that's a really general term. How about we touch on blues rock? Let's get into that Louisiana, like that southern good blues rock. Let's show that type of culture. What about Jamaica?
Ooh.
They're not African American.
Right.
They're dark skinned, but they're not African American at all. Let's bring in that Jamaican culture. And so the main villain's a Jamaican guy, and there's like a Jamaican part of Harlem that they're in a lot. And it's really cool,
sounds cool.
The way that they work with the culture. What I'm a little disappointed in is bad guy is other strong guy.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, I'm only a few episodes in, so there's a lot of opportunity for it to go more places. But as of right now, bad guy is other strong
Remember
guy.
Cottonmouth from the first season?
It's better
No.
than that.
Cottonmouth was the good one, right? The
No.
good villain.
Oh, yeah,
like
no,
the
Cottonmouth
cool
was the good
villain.
one, yes.
The
Cottonmouth
second
was
one,
good.
whatever his name was,
Diamondback.
He was lame.
Yeah, Diamondback
Cottonmouth was
was the worst.
super cool.
Yes.
Like he was intimidating and had a cool character about him, and then they just killed him. And you're like, okay, I'm not interested anymore.
Right.
Now he's just fighting strongman with weird armor.
Black Mariah is still a part of it, and so that's Mariah
Is that
Dillard.
She's the politician lady?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Shades is back, and I
still
like
in
Shades
it.
too.
Yeah. So they have a thing in there. Like there is still like a politics of Harlem behind the scenes
which
of
is
Harlem.
kind of
It's good.
a good thread. Yeah.
I like that. But I wish they focused more on that and less on big strong guy doing voodoo.
Right.
And so anyway, but a movie that I also rewatched recently.
Oh.
Yeah, see, this is how we transition.
I don't like it. Last Jedi. That's my transition.
That's a sweet audio spike.
Yep,
there,
you're welcome.
You know, so you're welcome to your ears. But we each recently watched The Last Jedi. I watched it first.
Yes.
And I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, you messaged me and you're like, I rewatched it, and it's a little better. Not thinking, not having like expectations built up, and I was like, I guess I'll have to watch it again because my initial watch in theaters was pretty. It wasn't the worst movie in the world,
right?
But I was like, well, yeah, okay, whatever.
I liked it a lot.
And you liked it way more than I did.
But then I rewatched it and I liked it even more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So because truthfully, when I watched it the first time, I liked everything with Rey and Luke, and I hated everything with Finn
and Rose.
I rewatched it, and I loved everything with Rey and Luke and Kylo Ren, and it was less bad.
Yeah,
that's the best I can give the whole Finn line. It was. I'm gonna make
it. There's a YouTube channel called Folding Ideas. It's a film critic. He has an episode where he talks about a movie he watched called The Matrix Reloaded Revolutions.
Okay.
And he just goes through it and he's like, yeah, it's this story about the resistance, the underground. They've been freed. They're fighting against this machine army that's trying to take over the Zion. They're underground. It's got this really cool like sci-fi aesthetic with like these mechs, but also they're kind of like, it's just this really interesting, unique thing, and they fight against, and you got like these cool action scenes and really cool special effects.
Yeah.
And all this stuff happens, and it was really great. Oh, and also there's this guy named Neo, and there's like this computer program, and blah, 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 blah. But the rest of it, and like basically he makes the point, like, this would have been great without Neo. Like, that was the detriment, even though that's like your central thing, like the whole point of the movies. And to me, that's how Last Jedi felt. Was, wow, there was this great movie about this guy named Kylo Ren and about this lady named Rey, and they both had this like force power thing, and they're dealing with how to like morally, what do they do with what they can, and how they've been treated in their past, and having people over them trying to pull them in certain directions, and like dealing with that. Oh, and there's also this other like resistance thing where they're like fighting against bad guys and whatever. I don't care.
Right.
Like the really interesting part is Rey and her like learning from this Luke, who's this disillusioned guy, and also Kylo Ren, who's been taught by this evil guy but is like questioning that and makes decisions to like go against it, and they're meeting and they're like working with each other, and like the whole resistance thing felt like a B plot from a mid-season like TV show, like, and it just felt so. It felt like it was in there because people like A, because they started that story in the movie before it, and B, because you can't not have the rebels in a Star Wars movie. And so I agree, the Rey and Kylo Ren stuff, great. I loved the meta commentary that Luke was on the like commentary as a whole, or on the series as a whole, basically speaking to the audience, but also context. That scene when Yoda comes in is probably easily my favorite scene in the whole thing. Yoda's doing his goofy thing again, where he's like old hermit Yoda, and he's just like a little bit crazy, and you're like, oh yes, he's fun, but also he's wise, and it's just like, no, this needs to end. He just makes that decision, and it's like, great. I love that scene, and I just and then they keep going back to Finn and Rose doing this whole side plot that fails miserably in a way that's not satisfying, because you can have failure in a movie and it just be okay. Like, you're like, okay, that's not the point. Something else happened. And B, I thought both of them were stupid. Like, they made stupid decisions, especially Rose at the end. Like, illogical choices, and it's supposed to be the emotional crux of those whole things. And you're like, no, that was stupid, stop. And so I kind of am there with you with it's better the second time I've watched it.
So here's the reality of it is, when everybody was going into this movie, there were so many questions circulating. Who is Emperor Snoke? Who are Rey's parents? What is Luke gonna do? How powerful is he now?
Right.
What incredible, like, there were these things, and they were so important to fans and viewers that became what The Last Jedi was going to be.
Right.
And we created that.
Sure.
That had nothing to do...
Well, no, to be fair, the first movie created that. They asked the questions, and then we created the necessity for the second movie to answer them to be good. Not even just answer them in the way we wanted. So, like, it's okay to ask those questions, but you got to be open to a surprising answer.
Right. And yes, we created the necessity of it. That's a great way to put that. And so when fans went and watched this movie, there was an uproar. There's literally a petition going around right now to remove Episode 8 from canon.
That's the movie you want to remove from canon?
Yeah, forget the prequels.
Guys, you're stupid. That's all I got to say.
And really, at the end of the day, what's happening is, I feel like as I rewatched Episode 8, like you said before, there was a meta commentary. Yeah, a meta commentary that is a thread through the entirety of the movie. And this is, so let's break it down into two different things here.
Sure.
Let's talk about the story with the Jedi, the Force, Luke,
the Force thread,
the Force users, and then we'll break it into the Rebel thread,
which
is Princess Leia and General Organa, and Finn, and Shooty McCool guy.
Oh, Poe
Dameron. Thank you. And we'll talk about that. So let's talk about this first thing here with the Force. And we both agree that we liked that even more.
Yes.
It was great.
Yeah.
So watching it a second time, what did you appreciate about it more?
Well, I mean, okay, I have issues with it still.
Okay.
The comedy aspects throughout the movie, with very few exceptions, were kind of lost on me.
Yeah.
Except for maybe that very first opening thing when Poe, like, basically is calling to... He's like, yeah, I'll hold.
I'm on the line for Hux?
No, I'm on the line for General Hugs. Hello? Hugs? Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I'll wait. Like, I thought that was kind of funny. Like because Poe Dameron's a quippy, funny guy, so that made sense to me. But then there's like when like immediately following Episode 7, when Rey gives the lightsaber to Luke and he takes it and looks at it, and then just like comedy tosses it behind him. I love the idea of him being like just dropping it or even tossing it and just like walking away, even if it's like it. I just didn't like how it was supposed to be kind of comedic. Like it didn't really like it set up this big important moment and then just kind of took the rug out from underneath it. But as far as that's neither here nor there for the actual storyline of the Force users. I really like the idea. I love the idea of Luke not only wanting to hide because of things, but just like not wanting to do these things, like, and refusing to do so until he's kind of goaded into doing it by both R2D2
right,
and Yoda, essentially. Like he has his convictions and sticks with them. Like, even though the audience desperately wants him to do this thing, you're kind of forced to realize, oh, no, that makes sense. Like, this is who he is right now. So I really liked there was that whole meta commentary of, like, Rey being like, oh, well, the Force is, like, this power that, you know, we can use to, like, pick stuff up and, you know, hurt people or whatever she says. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels like people who've most recently watched probably the prequels, where the Force in that is basically just a power to fight people.
Yeah.
There's no like mysticism about it. Literally, it's just, oh, you are a heavy like high Force user, so now you can fight people. And so it's kind of telling them, hey, that's not what this is about. Like, the Force is not that. Getting back to what it used to be. So it did a very good job with that. I just like the ambiguity of the Force.
Yes, absolutely.
And not only just the Force, but also the people using the Force, their future.
Well, and I like the ambiguity of the morality of the Force.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
You know, where before, even in the original trilogy, like in prequels, it was so black and white.
Oh yeah, you're good, bad.
Literally to the point that Anakin decided to wear black when he became bad.
Yep.
The original trilogy painted a little bit more of a neutrality, but there was still good and bad. You could come back from the bad, and Luke wasn't just good. Like, he had some darkness in him. In the third movie, he was wearing all black as well, and like there was definitely some like moral ambiguity in there. But this one, like, is Kylo Ren wrong? Yeah, let's not kill people. Let's not
right.
But,
his methodology
like,
is
once he killed Snoke, he's like, hey, we're the two most powerful people in the universe right now, but we can become a force to help people in that way.
Right,
like,
right.
We can use our power for good. But Rey's like, well, no, we don't want to force, pun, anybody to do anything.
Sure.
And so, but at the same time, Rey isn't perfect either. She's still struggling with the bitterness and anger of her own. And, like, they're balancing these things. The moment where they have Luke knowing, I've lost Ben. He is not going to be a Jedi. He will be Sith. I've lost him. And they show him standing there, and they show Luke's version of it first.
Right.
Where he just looks at him, and then Kylo attacks him.
Sure.
And then they show Kylo's version of it, in which Luke is just straight up attacking him out of anger and hatred. And then they show the reality of it, where there was just that moment of, like,
weakness, as it is described.
And then he's self-hatred, and then Kylo goes to defend himself and attack back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All the while, they're trying to tell you the Force is a thing. Like, a gun is a thing, or a brick is a thing. You can use these things for evil. You can use these things for good. The Force is powerful. Like, I want to get into, like, the fandom of it.
Sure, that's a big thing we can go on for a long time.
But as far as actual quality of the movie, and just from, like, outside of a fandom point, they do two things really well with this thread. Number one, the relationship between Kylo Ren and Rey is beautiful.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not their enemies, and it's not their allies. It's, what are they?
Yeah. That to me, it's reminiscent of almost like John Hughesian, where like the princess and the rebel end up
Okay.
together at the end, because it's not so much that they like each other or anything like that, but like they just kind of need each other right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
They are both lost in a dark place with mentors that are not great.
At the core, they are asking of themselves what is the same question: Who am I?
Yeah, and they're trying to find that, and they begin searching together, and it's a really beautiful thing to see them doing that. And I appreciate that at no point do they try and make it romantic. It could be, if it comes that way,
Sure.
that's not bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also just two people that, if it were two men or two women or two dogs that needed each other in this way, it wouldn't be any worse or better for it. Like, it's
Sure.
just a very cool thing that shows these two people needing each other. And then at the same time, we already talked about this a little bit, is Luke's meta narrative to the fans, constantly telling them, you guys need to stop assuming things. Like, you guys need to stop thinking that everything has to go your way, because guess what? If you had it exactly your way, this would be bad.
Yeah.
If Luke came in and just saved the day, it would become a Michael Bay movie.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? He just came on and blew things up. That's never been what Star Wars is about. Star Wars has been about this. It's always been a morality tale. You know, the battle between good and evil.
At its core, it's very simple, and I like that they're going a little more complicated now. That's what it needed.
And so, and now they're coming to a point where, like, let's discuss this morality. Let's make it more about philosophy and less about blowing things up and fighting with laser swords. You know, when he says what, like, again, I feel like he's looking at the audience when he says,
"Hey,
what did you think? I was going to pick up a laser sword and take on the First Order all by myself?" He tells that to Rey, but it's almost a statement to the fans. Is that literally what you expected of this movie?
What do you expect?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. And then his entrance at the end, I thought was a cool, like, moment. Just to have that confrontation between the two of them. I would have liked more talking and less fighting at that moment. Because at the end of, like, it gave them time to run away.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it didn't really feel like there was that. I feel like that could have been accomplished
between
in
Luke
a million
and Kylo Ren?
Between Luke and Kylo Ren. Yes, it felt more like a whoa, what a cool moment, rather than a logical plot progression to me.
See, I want to disagree with you there, because I think they did a really good job of establishing Kylo Ren's rage and that he wanted no words with Luke. He did not want to discuss anything. He wanted to murder this man, and that's it. You know, when they approached all those things, is like, fire everything, you know, more. That. And then Hux is like, do you think that's enough? And then Hux just flies against the wall, and he's like,
sure.
Like, there's just so much rage in that moment.
Yeah, but then, I don't know, Luke is like, sorry, like, tries to talk to him, like, I failed you.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren, which, it wasn't out of character. It wasn't like why did he do that? I just kind of would have preferred a little bit more of a conversation between the two of them. Like, let me try to explain what I was doing, why I messed up. You can do better than this. And that didn't happen. I would have really liked that. And now, I mean, I guess Luke can come back as a Force ghost, but
he will. I'm sure he will.
Yeah, it didn't. At the end of the day, my main problem, even with that I still have, even with the Force side or plot, is that despite all the things that they talked about, as in, like, more intriguing morality, characters that are a little deeper and less just I'm a good guy and I'm a bad guy, it's still, at the end of the day, a Jedi helping rebels fight against a Sith in control of an army. And it did some more interesting things, but it, to me, just felt like it couldn't escape. As much as it tried to, it couldn't escape fans' expectations and just, this is what Star Wars is.
Yeah, that's one thing that I was a little bit disappointed with, is as far as, like, complete resolution, they almost kind of returned to the status quo.
Yes.
And so, yes, General Snoke isn't there, or Emperor Snoke, or whatever he was.
General Emperor.
But Snoke wasn't really that much of, like, a...
He was not. He was kind of a non-consequential character.
Yeah, and so that's not that big of a difference that he's not there anymore. Luke wasn't really there in the first place, so it's not that big of a deal he's not there anymore.
Yep.
The whole thing with the Jedi, like, they burned that thing of books, but then the books...
That was stupid.
Well, yeah, that she has the
when
books.
she has the books.
Yeah.
What's the point of this then? Like, that whole scene with Yoda, a lot of it is taken away when you're like, oh, she took him anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was a little bit sad to see that everything kind of just returned to the status quo at the end of the movie. I know that there was a lot of character progression, but
right,
you know,
plot wise, it's the same.
Yeah, it is.
It's just where it was.
So we'll see how that goes and how everything returns together. But let's move on to the second part of this plot, the rebel plot here, and why. I want to say it was still a disappointing plot, but it was less disappointing to me. Man, it wasn't as bad as I originally thought.
To me, it just reestablished like they didn't know what to do with this.
Right. And I think they're flailing right now with Finn a little bit as a character.
Yeah.
Because they established him in the first movie, and it was really cool that he was there, but he was almost just like the motorcycle that Rey got to ride in on. And that was about it. You know what I mean? Like...
Sure.
I just mean that, like, he would...
a plot device.
A plot device that brought Rey in. I think letting Finn die at the end of it would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, that would have been great.
That would have been so good,
man.
Yeah,
like,
letting him sacrifice himself.
As of how it was, he still was just a plot device.
Yeah.
Several times in this movie, he was just like, oh, I know that thing because I was a stormtrooper.
Right.
Apparently, stormtroopers know everything about the Empire.
Right.
I'm not here to get into all those little details. I don't care. It's... okay, one day he figured it out. I don't care. But he didn't do anything beside that. And then when he tried to do something beside that, sacrificing himself to save the rebels he was once against, Rose comes in and ruins everything.
Just so she can have a boyfriend or whatever.
Yes. The whole Canto Bite sequence, I get the idea of it. They need to get this hacker guy. But the emotional point of that scene was, let's save some animals. Like, not let's save some animals. Sorry, that's a pithy way to put it. It's more about what the good we can do than the bad we can stop. Right. Which is a good part. I like that idea. Like, I think that in real life, that's a good thing. Like, politically, like, it's not just about saying Donald Trump is a moron. It's about helping people who've been hurt by whatever. And look, send me your emails. I don't care. But yeah, I like that idea. But it just, all of that was taken away when she stops somebody from sacrificing himself to help the good people. And literally when she's saying, it's not about the hate or the hate we can... or stopping what we hate, but saving what we love. As she's saying that line, the big building with all the people she loves in it is exploding because of her actions. Like, you literally just, as far as she could tell, just killed everybody in there, Rose.
We need to save the things we love. In the background, my face,
my bones, my baby,
my wife is on fire.
I really wish somebody could have stopped this from happening.
I wish I could save the one I love right now, but there are so many explosions.
Yeah, and that was just like a...
Rose is kissing Finn.
Yeah. Finn dying right there could have been great emotionally and given his character a real, like, weight to him instead of just being a plot device. And also, I could see that being used in the future as, like, when Rey finds out, she when everything gets settled, they're back on a ship or whatever, they find, and she's like, oh, where's Finn? And then she uses that as, like, no, Kylo, we need to be saving people, to be doing good, and this wouldn't have happened if not for your actions. I cannot side with you no matter what you say. Like, that could have been he still could have been a plot device, but in an emotional way rather than just to get the story moving forward. And so that I hated.
I was real disappointed.
It was
in that part.
so dumb.
I will say this though, on a kind of an aside, Nathan Fillion recently did a 15-minute Uncharted.
I haven't watched that
thing.
Yet, and I really need to.
It's really good. It's really good,
yeah.
but he's clearly getting old.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oscar Isaac would make a great Nathan Drake.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's kind of a good swashbuckler.
Yeah, I could see Poe Dameron as just want to toss that in
Sure,
there.
why not? Why not?
Anyway, but I liked Poe's storyline. This is why I wanted to bring it in.
Yeah,
So,
he was the most interesting part of the Rebel storyline.
I think that he got a lot of really cool character growth, and I think that him seeing the consequences of his actions,
His
was
recklessness?
recklessness was really interesting.
Yeah.
I loved being with him for a while, like when Aloasti and the rest of the you don't know who Aloasti is?
I don't know these names.
Okay, do you know about Aloasti?
I know the main characters. No, I don't.
J.J. Abrams loves the Beastie Boys and
Okay.
puts a reference to every single, or in every single one of his movies, puts a reference.
In all
to
the
Beastie
Star
Boys.
Trek movies,
Yes.
they literally just put the same song in them.
Aloasti, Hello Nasty.
Okay.
So Aloasti
Great, whatever.
is a pilot. Anyway,
Okay, sure.
he he's an alien pilot, and he with a couple of other people and Poe's they all pull guns, and Poe's like, I'm relieving you of your command. When I first saw the movie, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
all right. And then like when things progressed and we found out what's really going on, Poe felt stupid and I felt stupid.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I thought that was so well done.
Right, yeah.
And then to continue on and finally see like sometimes unexciting strategy and a very poignant sacrifice is what we need.
Yes, that story, that plot point with purple hair lady.
Yes.
I liked her. It felt like we need to get somebody in charge who doesn't have any emotional resonance with the audience. Like it felt like everybody knows what Leia would do, kind of. But let's just get this lady so that A, you don't trust her, maybe, which is always good in these kind of movies.
Right.
To get a main character who can make decisions and do important things that you don't trust. And B, like, you want Poe to win, and then when he's proven wrong, yeah, like you said, like, oh, right. It kind of was another, like, hitting on that theme of what I expect and want to happen is not what should happen.
And that's why, as we kind of wrap up here, that's exactly what I want to say. What Last Jedi did really, really well, and the reason why I liked it so much is because the entirety of the movie is not only a well-made, good movie, but it's kind of a message to all Star Wars fans saying, what you want isn't what is good. Let me show you why. Let me show you how what you want for Luke to just come in and save the day and for it to be a rehashing of the first trilogy, but you didn't want a rehashing of the first. Like, you don't even know what you want.
You don't know what you want.
Yeah, and so let me show you how this movie should play out, how this should go, and how what you want is not exactly what should go. Luke literally says this is not going to go the way that you think.
That's true.
And
He is spoiling the movie right there.
And there are just so many things in the movie that are subtly and directly saying sometimes you want the hero to come in and save the day. That's not the way this is supposed to go. Sometimes you want Finn to go and get the code breaker, and nope, that's going to fail.
Yeah, no, okay. I heavily respect that message. It's weird to me to have such a strong meta message in a sci-fi movie. Like, just, it feels like they had to accomplish this while also telling a story, and the story kind of suffered because of it.
I'm going to pause you right there.
Go ahead.
In a sci-fi movie, it's very common to have
No.
a heavy meta message.
Social commentary.
Yeah.
Or even satire, but this is a
direct
specific
meta.
message.
Yeah, very direct.
This is, hey, Star Wars fans, Star Wars things. It wasn't, hey,
society,
Earth, you know, hey, deal with this problem that you're going through, that kind of thing. There's a pretty different
yeah, that's true. That's different.
message there.
But sci-fi was almost created to have a meta message.
Well,
so,
sure. Yeah, that's the point.
But I get what you're saying.
With any fictional, if it's written well. So that kind of like made the movie suffer. If at the same time they couldn't just sit down and write a movie, they were like, let's also tell the fans that it's not going to be what you expect. That kind of thing can come through without having to like. There was like a full half an hour, 45 minutes placed on that Finn Rose going to Canto Bight, finding this guy, going to the other place, and they still suffered from having to fulfill fan expectations. We have to get what's his name? What's her name?
Maz?
No. Well, yeah, Maz Kanata That was stupid. Why for like 30 seconds she just 10 seconds she just shows up. Oh, she doesn't tell him the name of the code breaker just so that there were things. Yeah, she just shows up for no reason. Basically, they could have found anybody. Why would Poe Dameron would know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. Maybe we could do this. That kind of thing. I know this guy from my training days.
Yeah.
He got kicked out because he was too whatever.
I really, really wanted him to be Lando Calrissian, by the way. I
See,
really wanted him to be Lando Calrissian.
That would have been a problem because it's just more Star Wars things. And
the problem, he wasn't to continue this meta narrative to them. Yes,
the problem with Star Wars is that it is Star Wars. That's the problem. They had to bring in what's the silver stormtrooper lady? They had to bring her in for 10 seconds because hey, remember her? Everybody wants her back. If she wasn't in there, I wouldn't have cared. Like BB-8 being on a big, the chicken legs walker, the ATST was
chicken legs.
Yeah, that's what I used to call him when I was younger, playing the arcade game. But like that was stupid. Like there was just things that even though they were they wanted to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
and it suffered because a good 45 minutes of the movie was lame. Like the whole Canto Bite thing just felt like I don't care about this. This feels weird. It feels like filler.
Yeah.
And B, it was too long. It was a 2.5-hour movie that should have been an hour 45, and mostly not taking out Finn and Rose. I don't mind if it's them, using them better. Because it felt like, oh, we have these characters, let's give them something to do. And whenever you have to ask that question, then that character probably shouldn't be there.
I liked Rose as a character. Like, I thought that they could have brought in somebody who is overly optimistic and perky and happy and comes with joy with everything that she does. I hated everything that she did, though. Like,
yes.
If they brought a character in and had her do things that made sense, that would have been great.
Sure, yeah. It was purely about her action. Like, the things she did not logically follow up what the goal of the rebels was.
Right. Yeah. So, well, guys, let us know what you thought about The Last Jedi. We encourage you to go rewatch it again. Go see it.
It's on the old Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for putting up with us talking about Star Wars. If you are a huge Star Wars fan, you might be raging right now.
That's fine.
Or you might be nodding. Yeah. Fox, his address is... No, I don't even know his address. I can tell you that he does for sure live in Beaverton, Oregon.
Yeah.
Though. That's where
Definitely
he lives.
That.
Go find him there.
Just knock on every door and ask for Fox. Not going to give you my full name, even though any other video you've said it a billion times.
Someday, somebody's going to do that, and they're going to knock on a door. I want Fox, and somebody's going to provide them with a Fox.
Here you go.
I got an extra one.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening, guys, and remember, saved games, save lives.
See you later.